This photo was never supposed to exist. A hooded figure stands alone in the desert, surrounded by armed soldiers. None of them fired a single shot. Today we'll uncover 10 disturbing encounters from World War II that might not have been human at all, and will go from eerie to absolutely horrifying. Number 10. Deep in the German Black Forest, far from any front lines, a group of Nazi scouts reported something no textbook had prepared them for. They described a giant, hairy humanoid, at least 3 meters tall, standing motionless between the trees. Its eyes, bright glowing yellow, seemed to pierce the fog like headlights. When they aimed their rifles, it didn't move. When they fired, the bullets simply vanished into its mass. The entire squad retreated in panic. But here's the strangest part. When investigators returned days later, they found the trees around the site had been charred from the inside out, as if something had burned their cores without touching their bark. The military dismissed it as hallucination due to stress. But local legends still speak of a guardian of the forest, a being that predates even human memory. Number 9. Okinawa, 1945. Just days before one of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific, something inexplicable happened in the skies. A squadron of U.S. fighter pilots was flying in formation when they all heard it. A deafening scream, so loud it shook the cockpit windows. But the radios were silent. No source, no distress call, just the sound. And then, silence. One pilot later reported something even more disturbing. A shadow passed through his aircraft. Not over, not under, through. Instruments froze, his vision blurred, and then it was gone. Military records mention the event only briefly, calling it an acoustic anomaly. But the pilot, who refused to fly again, insisted it wasn't just sound. It was like something, he said, wanted to be heard without being seen. Number 8. Albania, 1943. Italian forces were retreating through the mountains when something forced them to stop. Something not on any map. In the freezing dark, soldiers spotted a tall, bipedal creature emerging from a thicket, covered in dark skin, long limbs, and no visible face. It emitted a high-pitched screech that made some drop their weapons instantly. They opened fire. The bullets hit, but the thing didn't fall. It vanished into the snow. The squad advanced, but found no blood, no body, only deep claw-like footprints that suddenly stopped, mid-step, like it had leapt into the sky. One soldier claimed he later dreamed of it standing over him at night, whispering in a voice that wasn't his own. The official report. A wild bear encounter, but locals had another name. The one who walks upright when the moon hides. Number 7. Burma, 1942. Japanese troops stationed in the jungle began reporting strange noises at night. Not animal calls, not enemy movement, but screams. Human screams. At first, they thought it was an ambush tactic, but the pattern repeated for weeks, always between 2 and 3 a.m., always from the same trench sector. Patrols sent to investigate found nothing, yet some returned visibly shaken, and others didn't return at all. One survivor claimed he heard his own voice screaming from the darkness. Another said he felt pulled by invisible hands into the mud. Engineers excavated the area and found no bodies, no evidence of torture, no signs of structural collapse. Just perfect intact soil. The trench was sealed. No official explanation was given. Today, Burmese villagers avoid the area entirely. They call it the mouth of the forgotten. A place that doesn't echo, it answers. Number 6. Alamein, Egypt, 1942. Amidst one of the fiercest desert battles of World War II, a British unit encountered something they couldn't shoot, couldn't touch, and couldn't understand. A thick silver mist rolled over the dunes in the middle of the night, silent, unnatural, and moving against the wind. At first, they thought it was a chemical attack, but gas masks didn't help. As soldiers entered the fog, radios failed, compasses spun. Then came the screaming, not from the outside, from inside the mist. One soldier was found the next morning, lying flat, eyes wide open, no wounds, but frozen in terror. The others refused to go near the site again. Military reports blamed heat exhaustion and hallucinations. But the man's body was cold, and the fog never reappeared. Locals later told surviving soldiers an old... Number 5. Lennengrad, 1944. In the aftermath of a bombing raid, Soviet soldiers found a lone girl walking through the rubble. Her face was calm, too calm, and she had no eyes. Despite this, she walked without stumbling, turning her head precisely as if she could see. Medics tried to examine her, but she refused to speak until one whispered a prayer. That's when she responded, in a language no one could identify. A linguist said it resembled ancient Aramaic, but distorted. Later that night, she vanished from the hospital without a trace, doors locked from the inside, guards claiming they never saw anyone leave. All that remained was her chart, and a sketch one nurse had drawn, showing her with black tears running from her empty sockets. The entry in the records? Civilians, rescued, 24. Unknowns, 1. Disposition, unclassified. Number 4. France, 1943. A military transport train carrying wounded soldiers and medical supplies departed from Marseille. It was scheduled to arrive in Lyon the next morning. It never did. The rails were intact, the weather was clear, the last station confirmed it passed, and then, nothing. No wreckage, no distress calls, just a train 300 feet long that vanished into thin air. Search teams combed the tracks for weeks. Locals near a rural crossing claimed they saw the train, but instead of slowing down, it kept going, straight into an empty field where the tracks suddenly ended. One farmer swore he saw its lights fade, as if swallowed by the earth. Authorities dismissed the account as nonsense, but decades later, satellite scans revealed an underground anomaly beneath that very field, never excavated. Some now call it the Phantom Convoy, and others believe it never derailed. It simply left this world. Number 3. Tunisia, 1943. A French patrol advanced cautiously through a desert canyon when they spotted a figure in the distance. He wore a long hooded robe and held a coiled whip. But here's what made them freeze. He wasn't casting a shadow. Thinking it might be a local insurgent, they shouted commands. No reply, they aimed their rifles. The figure didn't flinch. As they approached, each soldier reported feeling a crushing pressure in their chest, like being held underwater. Their radios failed, one collapsed, and then the figure simply vanished. No footprints, no trace. The commander, shaken, ordered a retreat. The entire area was marked as off-limits from that day on. Years later, classified notes surfaced mentioning the Desert Monk, an entity known in local folklore as the Walker Between Realms. But no official military report was ever released. Only this photo remained, and no one knows who took it. Number 2. Poland, 1945. As Soviet troops began clearing the ruins of Auschwitz, a team was assigned to inspect a network of sealed underground chambers. But what they reported was never included in the final logs. Workers descending into one shaft heard a low, humming chant, in a language no one recognized. It wasn't recorded. It couldn't be. Each time they tried, the devices malfunctioned, and when they sent down a microphone, it picked up nothing, except silence. But the men swore the singing grew louder as they approached, until it stopped, all at once, just before they reached the sealed chamber. The walls were warm to the touch, but the air was cold. One soldier began to weep uncontrollably and never spoke again. The chamber was resealed permanently. Unofficially, it became known as the Choir of the Buried, and the men who heard it, they all had the same nightmare. A room filled with shadows, and not one of them cast a voice. Number 1. Manchuria, 1945. As Soviet forces overran Japanese positions, they uncovered the abandoned remnants of Unit 731, Japan's most secret and horrific military research facility. But what they found beneath the surface wasn't just instruments of torture. It was something else. A network of tunnels, organic-looking, pulsing slightly, as if alive. Walls were damp and veined. Some claimed they saw them breathe. In one corridor, a soldier reported that the flesh of the wall opened an eye. Another said the ground felt like skin. They retreated immediately, Later, Japanese prisoners admitted that some chambers had been built from the victims themselves. Biologists dismissed it as metaphor. But photos taken by Soviet intelligence show structures that still defy modern anatomical explanation. The site was buried, officially erased. Unofficially, it's referred to as the tunnels of flesh. And some believe they were never meant to be found.